Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Augustus, and I'm back again with another episode of Tsukihime. When we last left off, we were at a difficult choice, and I was indecisive about what I wanted to do. But I have decided. I know now what I'm going to choose. Now, originally, I was leaning towards, let's just go to school to avoid the conversation. But I, in my infinite wisdom and almost but not quite deciding to flip a coin, decided that, I want to go to the sitting room and talk to Akiya and start my timer, which I forgot to do. But anyway, let's go to the sitting room. Because while we do want to hurry to see Senpai, and while this is her route, well, I didn't choose this last time, so let's do it. Let's do it. But still, I can't ignore Akiya and go right to school. I want to find out about Senpai right away, but first I should explain to Akiya about last night. Akiya is the only one in the sitting room. Kohaku-san is in the kitchen, humming away. Akiya doesn't say anything when she sees me and sips her tea quietly. Good morning, Akiya. Resisting the urge to go to school, I greet her as naturally as possible. Akiya's eyebrows twitch as she places her teacup down and slowly looks at me. That's definitely a look. Good morning, Nissan. It was quite late when you came home last night, wasn't it? No, not really. It was at most a little past 1 o'clock. Quite normal for a healthy young man in high school to be up, right? I see. My bedtime is also past midnight, so I was up at that time. But I would come home much earlier than that. Yeah, even I was home earlier, wasn't I? I just had something to do, so I was out for a little while. Without permission? You acted like you were out doing something you felt guilty over. Would you have given us permission? Her stare is pure ice. I can say pretty confidently that she wouldn't have given us permission anyway, so it's not like it would have mattered. Hell, if we had asked about it, she probably would have just went, oh, you're going to try to go out, and then made it harder for us. This is the second time, and I'm sure even though Akiya looks calm, she is quite angry. Nissan, I don't know what went on at the Arima house, but here the curfew is 8 o'clock. It is a rule that must not be broken. The gate will be locked after that, so please don't climb in like a robber. Oh, you knew? The surveillance camera showed me quite clearly. I mean, of course there's a surveillance camera. There's, they're fucking wealthy. There's a mansion. It is a good thing Kohaku-san realized it was you and turned off the alarm system, because otherwise you would probably be detained right now, Tonoshiki, when it released the hounds. Oh, I should thank Kohaku-san then. And, Akiya, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have kept quiet about it. If you understand, then it is fine. Please make sure you observe your curfew from now on. I will overlook it this time. About that, Akiya. What is it? This is a little hard to say. I have something I have to do tonight, too. I don't know when I'll be back, but I'm not going to do anything bad. Her gaze sharpens. Kohaku. She suddenly stands up. Kohaku-san comes in from the kitchen. Yes, what is it, my lady? I will be going to school. Get the preparations ready. Huh? But I have not yet made Shiki-san's breakfast. You can leave this person alone. It seems he can do everything by himself. She's quite angry. Akiya strides towards the lobby. Kohaku-san sighs. Shiki-san, you should not have made Akiya-sama so upset. You are her big brother, so please treat her better, okay? Saying that, she walks after Akiya. The teacup sits, still steaming. Sigh. I know it's my own fault, but I won't have any breakfast today. But it is convenient in a way. It is just now 7 o'clock. If I run to school now, I should be able to get there around 7:30. I make it to the gate. It's about 7:30. I stand and wait for Senpai by the gate. It probably looks strange to the other students walking by, but I don't really care. Someone? Do I need to click? I do need to click. Okay. I hate when it does that when it's just like a fucking blank screen and you actually have to click to advance it and it doesn't tell you that you have to click to advance it. Oh well. Senpai doesn't show up. The school gate is flooded with students as they arrive. There's only about 5 minutes before the gate closes. But Senpai still does not come. She might not come today. Yesterday, I saw all that happened, so she might not come today, or tomorrow, or the day after. Thump. Thinking that, I feel a little faint. I shake my head to clear it of terrible thoughts. And then, someone pats me on the shoulder from behind. Tono-kun, what are you doing here? Senpai. Yes. Senpai nods. Really? But yesterday, you were... Before I can finish, Senpai puts her hand over my mouth. Tono-kun, not here. Let's go behind the gymnasium. Senpai gives her usual smile as she keeps her hand over my mouth and pulls my arm. I try to tell her to stop, but I can't speak. She forcefully pulls me away. The school bell rings overhead. Homeroom has begun. Furthermore, no one else is around. Yes, no one can hear us here. Senpai finally releases me. Jumping back, I face Senpai directly. You want to talk about last night, right? If there's anything you want to say, please go ahead, Tono-kun. Senpai speaks calmly, as if what happened last night was not a big deal. But it was a big deal for me. Her attitude right now makes me mad. So, it really was you last night? Yes. I did say your name back then too, so it's impossible to hide it any longer. I grit my teeth. I didn't expect an apology, but still. But you said that wasn't you. What wasn't? 3 nights ago. I asked if you were the one that helped me that night in the park, and you said it wasn't you. That was a lie. Yeah, she does that a lot. Succinctly. Senpai clearly, simply says no. A lie, Senpai? You didn't keep the promise we made. You told me you wouldn't go out at night anymore. She stares at me. That's not really the problem here, but whatever. I start to feel like the bad guy all of a sudden, feeling guilty about what I did. I made the promise with you so something like this wouldn't happen again. Is that how a promise with me means to you, Tono-kun? Fucking guilt-tripping us. That makes me sad. No, that's not it. About last night, I thought Arkawade was the one behind the serial killings, but that couldn't be right, so I went to ask her, and I tell her all about last night. Senpai listens to it all silently. How I met her accidentally, how she explained to me about the vampire in the city, how I teamed up with her to save the city, and everything up until now. I understand. So you teamed up with her to defeat the vampire in this city. Right, Tono-kun? Well, yeah, that's how it is. I can't believe it. Tono-kun, do you really believe in vampires? That's a good... Come on. What are you saying, Senpai? Even you're one of the church's Senpai puts a finger on my lips. Don't worry about me. Isn't the problem more about you, Tono-kun? Deflecting. This conversation has a lot more going on with it and reveals more about Ciel's personality than I initially caught my first time through this, which is interesting. I'm actually catching a little bit more of stuff like that and, doing this versus when I read it by myself, not speaking aloud or anything like that. And it's kind of interesting, the things that were actually foreshadowed or like red herrings and stuff that I just didn't catch, or the things that it revealed about personalities early on that I didn't catch at the time, or I might have caught at the time, but it didn't really stick with me. It's very interesting. Me? I don't have any problems. You have no self-awareness, it seems. Senpai gives a troubled sigh. That is true. I have a question. Just how much did she tell you about last night? How much? Well, only that a vampire is in this city sucking people's blood. So, in other words, you don't know how her or this enemy she is after. Well, I haven't heard about it. I see. Then I will tell you about it. Wow, that's amazing. You know about that, Senpai? Well, I am a member of the church, so of course I know that much. Oh, that's right. Sorry, I kind of forgot. Ha ha ha. Nervous laughter. I attempt to laugh it off. Jeez. I'm trying to be serious here, so please pay attention. I nod in assent. Huh? But isn't that a secret? Arkawade, she said you were all incredibly secretive. Yes, it really isn't something to talk about, but today is special. There isn't anyone watching over us or anything, so as long as you don't tell anyone, then it will be okay. What will happen if I tell someone else about you, Senpai? She'll gut us? Yes, I'll just do exactly what you're thinking of, Tono-kun. She'll gut us. Senpai gives that brightening response with a smile. Well, I'll keep it very simple. Tono-kun, how much was explained to you about vampires? Just about how there were two types and how dead apostles are vampires that suck human blood. She also told us about the dead, but I think I know what kind of monsters they are. That's true. Tono-kun, you did actually defeat a vampire. But you did help me at the very end, Senpai. Yes, I watched you annihilate Chaos. When I came, Chaos was already dying though. I'm surprised. Then Senpai knows about my eyes? It was terrible. That woman made you do such a thing. If she had a conceptual weapon to beat Chaos, she should have used it herself. After seeing your bloody body, I thought I should punish her then and there. You too, Tono-kun. Even if you were given a weapon that can kill vampires, what were you thinking fighting that thing? Does she have a hold over your weakness or something? I mean, there are those eyes. Still, looking surprised, Senpai complains aloud. I mean, I'm also a sucker for short hair, but you know, depends on the hairstyle. Like, I like Ciel's hair, for example, but it doesn't look like it would make sense in reality. I don't love her hair. I do fucking hate her redesign hair, though. I hate her redesign in general. I actually don't think it's very good, and all the rest of them are okay at best, but I think hers is pretty bad from... It's been so long since I've seen it. I haven't seen a picture of the redesign since probably before I even started this channel, so who fucking knows? Senpai? What's this weapon that can kill vampires? What do you mean? I'm talking about that knife you have, Tono-kun. Oh, I guess she wouldn't tell you about it. It's not good for her either. Let's see, vampires have the ability to recover from most injuries they receive. With ordinary outside force, I mean normal weapons. With such things, you cannot cause such wounds greater than the speed of their recovery. To kill a vampire, you need an outside force greater than their speed of recovery, or something that nullifies their ability to recover. This ability of theirs, the Curse of Restoration, actually isn't treating the wounds. Instead, it is reversing of time to restore damaged body parts back to its original state. Wait a second. Okay. I actually kind of like that as a little bit of a lore dump. I might use that for D&D games, actually. Make a mental note of that. An occult artifact which nullifies this effect is called a conceptual weapon. Senpai cheerfully says all these things I can't understand too well. In short, a magical weapon. We usually lift their curse looking into their human past, so we do not usually use them. But for those that were not originally human, we use them kind of like a secret weapon. Your knife, is it not an anti-vampire weapon she brought? Or is it a family treasure? But it would be strange for the Tono family to possess such an anti-demon weapon. Senpai ponders aloud. Actually, it would make perfect sense, whatever. I don't know what she's thinking, but it seems she has no idea about my eyes. Senpai? Where did our conversation about vampires go? With the start, Senpai stops mumbling to herself. She smiles as if to hide her embarrassment. As usual, her personality is hard to understand. Let's get back to the main subject. Please listen carefully, Tono-kun. Yes, please keep it short. It seems you already know about the true ancestors and the dead apostles. So, it is very simple. The enemy she after is a dead apostle named the Serpent. Among the dead apostles, he is considered a heretic, a special vampire. This vampire is not as strong as Chaos, whom you defeated. But he is a more difficult an opponent to eliminate than this Chaos in a way, since he came back to life even after he dies. Senpai? Vampires are immortal, so isn't it natural for them to come back to life after dying? Yeah, people die when they are killed. You eliminated Chaos, right? Even if they are vampires, if you destroy their body and soul, they will be vanquished. If you kill a vampire, they will die. Oh, this is Ciel talking. And there it is, kind of. If you kill a vampire, they will die. Yeah. But the serpent is a vampire who has conquered even this. Tono-kun, are you familiar with the cycle of reincarnation? Ah, fuck. It is part of a Buddhist doctrine, so I would think a Japanese would be quite familiar with it. You would think a Japanese, not a Japanese person, just a Japan or whatever. That might just be a translation error. The term in Japanese might be, I don't actually know what the term for somebody that's from, was it Nihongo? No, I have no fucking clue. Yeah. It's that thing where when someone dies, they are reborn again as another human. Yes, exactly. In other words, the vampire named the Serpent has made the cycle of reincarnation his own. That's what I mean when I say he came back to life even after he is killed. Reincarnation? You mean if he dies, he'll start over again as a baby? A little babby? Yes. While the Serpent is alive, he chooses his next host, and when he is born, he transmits all of the information of his self. The Serpent's information stays deep within the baby until it matures, or until it gains sufficient intelligence. Interestingly, and I don't know if it's ever covered, and I kind of don't think it is, but it might, but what happens if you were to kill the Serpent normally? Like, because, you know, how he does a whole, you normally kill him, and after he chose the next host he chose, and yada yada yada, like I just mentioned. But I think, at least how it's described, how it made sense to me when they described it, is he chooses a host when he's alive, and, you know, goes from there. But what would happen if he were to be killed and he hasn't chosen a host and there's nothing, and he's just killed normally? I don't know. That might not be how it works the way that I'm thinking. Like, it could just be like he dies and he chooses who it is after he dies, and like if he's killed without having chosen one beforehand, he just has to go into some fucking random fuck off kid or something. I don't know. Where was I? The baby becomes a new vampire that is the Serpent. Wait a minute. What's this? What's that? Don't tell me that he does surgery on it while it's in the mother or something like that. No, it's not anything medical. Because the instant his body is destroyed, he reincarnates into the body he chose as his next host. Yeah, like what if his body is destroyed, but he hasn't chosen his next host yet? I don't know. I said all of this information earlier, but to say it simpler, think of it as his soul. It would be quite correct to say his soul propagates through the air and takes over someone's body, but it's similar to an electromagnetic wave. In this case, the human brain is what does the transmitting and the receiving. His exceptional point is that he took his soul, which is incalculable and something that disperses as soon as it leaves the envelope of the body, and proceeds... I chose a horrible voice for her. And proceeds as it is something that could be transmitted. I'm slipping up on the easy words because the hard words I'm thinking too much. Whatever. I'm just dumb. I can't read. Her words don't seem quite real. I do understand what she's saying. The Serpent guy is reborn as a baby when he dies, and this baby turns into a serpent vampire when it becomes an adult. But if I believe your story, it means that he will never die. It's not immortality, but it's worse than that. Being killed and reborn as someone else, it's like living forever. Yes, exactly. It was 800 years ago when the Serpent first became a dead apostle. So, God. I think this takes place in 2000, 2001, 2002. So about 1200. Oh man, just picture, because Europe, Just picture Europe in 12... I'm not going to go into that. I don't have enough time to do that. Since then, the serpent has been reborn 17 times. Only 17 times and 800 and whatever. Every time, Arkawade Brunestad has killed him. Arkawade did? Yes. To her, the serpent is a special vampire. Well, the serpent has a special meaning to me as well. But even if he dies, he will be... but even if he dies, he'll just be reborn, right? So, killing him over and over is pointless, isn't it? Yes. He is killed by her, reincarnates, and is killed by her again. That cycle has repeated itself over and over. If Arkawade had the power to kill not the body, but the meaning, then this probably would not be happening. Which very much explains why we're here. Senpai looks down a little and she seems to be gritting her teeth. I don't know why. However, it seems that Senpai also has some grudge against the enemy like Arkawade does. A vampire that is reborn every time it's killed. That's Arkawade's and Senpai's enemy. Senpai, this serpent guy, what kind of a guy is he? That's a dumb question. He was originally a man, but that can change depending on the body he reincarnates into. The troublesome part of this dead apostle is that they are all hard to find, because he is properly born as a human baby and has parents. The serpent transforms into a vampire. When he reaches the age where he can do everything at a satisfactory level. Until then, that human shows no hint of being a vampire. But once this serpent awakens, he uses the relationships he gained until that time to blend perfectly into society. I heard that the church detects the serpent's presence usually after a whole town is turned into the dead. I see. For example, if this serpent guy were reincarnated in me, he would live as Tonoshiki even after he became the serpent. Unless he makes a big mistake, he would be free to suck blood without people realizing it. That is... scary. Of course, those around him are in danger too. But that human whom he reincarnated into, he would just disappear after maturing, right? One moment that person is living normally, and the next he suddenly turns into the serpent? That's very frightening. Yes, but it isn't like two people sharing one body. The human baby is still the serpent. Depending on its environment, it's either a good or a bad person. But even that disappears the instant the serpent awakens. To sum it up, once the serpent dies, he is reborn into the next baby, and once that body gains intelligence, it gains the previous life's self and becomes a vampire. And that's strange. Even if he did reincarnate, that baby is still human. So, even if it does gain the self of a previous life, the body should turn into a vampire, right? Reincarnation isn't the transmitting of personality, it is the transmission of a soul. So, the personality differs every time depending on the families and upbringings. But the soul itself does not change. Once bitten by a true ancestor, not only is the body forever soiled, but the soul is as well. What changes the body is the soul. The serpent transmits all his information called his soul, so when the serpent awakens, the body becomes one of a vampire, but as you said, just that is too weak. So he selects his next host while he is alive. The family he is born into must meet two conditions, the first being one of wealth. Being born into a family of high social standing, property, and money makes it easier to make the whole town into vampires later on. And there is another matter, this is the most important one, but amongst normal people like us, there are also people that carry special powers. Not like magic, which is a mystic power that can be learned, but rather special abilities from birth. Such people are normally called demonic children or psychics. These special abilities are genetic, so they are inherited, passed on by blood. He chooses those families that have something not human in their lineages, a family with wealth and influence and inhuman power. Those are the requirements for his host. And I think this, ladies and gentlemen, with that little bit of information, is where we're going to end off this episode. And so, will Shiki find out the meaning of what she's implying? Will his denseness fade for a single moment and be able to tell, if she's implying anything, or the not so coincidental coincidences that are going on, or I don't have too much hope in Shiki Boy. We've met him before. We've read his thoughts before. Let's not put too much faith in Shiki Boy, but maybe. So, find out the answer to that and more next time in Tsukihime. I hope to see you all there.